Somewhere, sometime, maybe 1,000,000 years ago, another boring, dusty day begins. In the beginning, the club was one of early man's most useful tools. It was used to settle arguments. Shortly before dinner time, the club was used to hunt the tasty but short-tempered woolly mammoth. But most importantly, the club was used to play Fwop. Now, Fwop was a game which was invented by primitive folks to pass the time between settling arguments and hunting mammoths. As these were primitive people, Fwop was, at first, a very primitive game. The game of Fwop consisted of tossing a rock into the air and fwopping it mightily with a club. The person who fwopped the rock the farthest was the winner. The person who caught the rock was almost always a loser.
There's gotta be a better way to catch a rock.
Now it came to pass that out of all the Fwoppers, there arose one greater than all the rest, and he was known as Ump. With a swift and steady swing, he could easily fwop a rock as far as the eye could see, sometimes farther. Although the other people admired his skill, they were especially in awe of his club, which he called a fwat, for it was different from the rest.
Oh, yes, I can. Come on, let me try.
Give me a thing, you promised. Hey, I've done you a lot of fun.
Because it was lighter and smoother, Ump's fwat allowed a swift and steady swing, giving the fwopper more distance with fewer aching muscles and higher fwopping averages. One rainy day, fwopping practice had been canceled, so Ump was finishing up a brand new fwat. Suddenly, an idea came to him. If his fwat could make him a better fwopper, then it could likewise make better fwoppers of Eorg, Uggle, Koma, and Ignam, and perhaps others. If he were to make fwats for fwop players all over the world, he could get in return many, many flinks. A flink being a coin worth slightly less than 2 cents. It was right then that Ump realized he had a marketable product in his hands. In order to make these fwats, however, he needed money to buy tools and hire helpers. So off went Ump to call on his friend Bunt. Bunt, it was rumored, had saved many flinks. Bunt listened very carefully to Ump's plan and agreed that his idea was indeed terrific. So Bunt went into his savings, withdrew some flinks, and invested in Ump's business. Using Bunt's flinks, Ump bought tools and hired the help he needed. Many jobs were created, and many men and women were employed. Some employees were hired to cut the wood to size. Others were employed to carve the wood into the proper shape. Still others sanded the wood to make it smooth. During the day, record keepers were needed to help Ump keep track of production. At night, fire tenders were needed to provide light for the second shift. Within a very short time, the flinks came rolling in, and Ump and his wife began making a profit, for the fwoppers were eager to exchange their flinks for fwats. At this point, Ump had to make a decision. So he did. Rather than spend the profit on fancy giant sloth coats, Ump had other ideas. He paid Bunt a dividend of 20 flinks. Then he and his wife found a larger cave and bought more tools. And lastly, they hired more employees. All of this they did so they could make even more fwats and earn even more flinks. So to the delight of Eorg, Uggle, Koma, Ignam, and all, this is exactly what they did. As you can plainly see, this is a fanciful tale about how one of the world's first businesses Ump's Whats might have started. Ump's What Company began with a good idea by creating the What, a marketable product for which there was a great demand. Ump made a profit. When businesses such as Ump's make a profit, many good things happen. More jobs are created and more men and women are employed. All of these people then can afford to buy things they need and want because they receive paychecks from the company for the jobs they do. Sometimes these people, like Bunt, are encouraged to use their savings to invest in new business ideas because there is a possibility of making a profit.
Here's my bag of flinks.
Come on, I want to invest. Take my money, please. I want to earn dividends.
Get your hand out of my
I
pocket.
have more money than you do. I want to invest.
People who invest in a company are called stockholders and are considered owners of the company. The company, in turn, pays dividends to these owners when it makes a profit. Because profit is a way of measuring the success of a business, the more profit a company makes, the larger the dividends for the stockholders will be.
Oh, Glug, we should have invested even more in Ump's Whats.
Perhaps someday you too will want to become part owner of a business by investing some of your savings in a company with a good idea and a marketable product that will pay you dividends.
Hey, look at this. Boy, will this thing catch rocks. It makes them feel like feathers. Hey, wait a minute. I think I'll call it a glove. That's it, Glug's Glove. This is a marketable product. I can sell these things. I'll make money. I'll pay dividends.
And so, our little story comes to an end. Or does it?